Hey there, Bible buddies. I've got a multi-Bible review for you today. Now, I know in the past I've said that I don't like doing multiple Bibles in one review video, but all these Bibles are the same exact Bible. They just have different color options for the cover. So I wanted to just kind of have a showcase of Bibles, I guess. And these are all the Living Bible Translation, which is a paraphrase technically, and it's done by Tyndale. So we'll go ahead and take a look at them. I have the 4 different covers here that are available. The only thing being that this brown is a synthetic, and they did make a brown leather. It's just this edition that I bought. I thought it was a leather at the time, but it turned out to be the synthetic cover. Either way, it'll still work for our purposes. So go ahead and take a look at the black one here. And you can see the nice grain, nice deep grain here that's in the cover. And that will be one thing that's different between all the covers. So this is not a simulated grain. This is a natural grain because it does differ here. And I don't know how well you're going to be able to see that, but it is a different grain between them all. We'll take a look at this black one first. You can see the nice perimeter line that goes all the way around the edge there. This leather is very soft, very flexible here, very soft cover. We'll take a look at the spine. You have the Living Bible, Paraphrased, and then Tyndale at the bottom there. And there are some kind of like rib indications. They're not really raised. I mean, ever so slightly. You can feel that they're popping up, but it's very slight. But there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them. And that perimeter line does continue around the spine and on the back of the Bible there. You can see that nice, beautiful grain. Now, these Bibles, they had gilt edges, not art gilt. This particular edition has been very beat up. It's been very well used, and it looks like it got some spray from some water at some point. So that gilt's kind of beat up, but we'll check it out on another Bible here to see. Now, there is head and tail bands, but these are yellowed. I think that they were all different colors. So in this black model, they were either white and turned yellowed and kind of yellowed with oxidation over the years, or they were kind of just yellow to begin with. I'm unsure on this specific black model. Now, I do have a green ribbon here. Originally, this had a just like a kind of a chintzy, cheap black ribbon. That was like falling apart, so I replaced it with this green one only because the Living Bible's like color is green. I guess most of the time you usually see them in green, so I went with this kind of a neon green here just to set it apart, just as an interesting aside. We'll take a look at the inside, and it does say genuine cowhide with bonded leather lined. And this bonded leather, it is very nice. On all the editions, it's held up very well, not like modern bonded leather, like hasn't fallen apart or anything like that. The one thing that I've noticed with these Living Bibles, they do all tend to kind of crack in the same area. And you can kind of see it here. It's starting to do it on this one. But they tend to crack right here on the cover. I'm not sure why that is, if that's just, kind of the way they bend, where they take the most stress. But they do tend to crack here. And also the leather and the liner tend to separate. I've noticed on a few examples where you kind of get like a bubble in between the two. So just a heads up. We'll take a look at the corner work there. Very clean. On the back side, you can see that nice, beautiful gilt line. The perimeter line around the edge there. Very well done. It's a fold over here, and it is edge lined. So this bonded leather liner here does come up onto the text block. And then this is just a paper end sheet here. So very nicely done. So let's go ahead and take a look at the other ones, and then I'll clear them all off. So we have this green one, and the green one's kind of the same. It's real beat up on the gilt. The Living Bible, I found that it's pretty popular on eBay. They do come up pretty regularly. But they always are pretty beat up, which is pretty interesting. I guess the people who bought the Living Bible really really read them and put them to the test. It's very rare that you see one in like pristine condition. For the most part, they're all pretty very well worn, which is just nice to see that. This one, the green one, does have kind of green and gold head and tail bands, and this brown ribbon was also a replacement ribbon that I did. I believe the ribbon that was on this one was like a deep green to kind of match this cover. But it was also pretty torn up and stained, so I replaced it with this nice dark brown one. I just figured it kind of gave it like a woodsy feel. My thoughts. But otherwise, it's the same. It does have a very nice kind of grain there on the cover. It is genuine cowhide with a bonded leather liner. And you can kind of see here on this one what I was talking about. See how it's kind of, let me see, I don't know if the camera's gonna pick it up so great, but the cover's kind of separating there. You can see this kind of bubble. So I don't know if just the adhesive that they used kind of came undone over the years, or maybe if they left this edition in their car or something like that. It just kind of wore away at the adhesive there, but it's separated from the liner. You can feel underneath. Otherwise, kind of the same. The end sheets are a different color. These aren't paper. These are like a synthetic material versus that black paper. On the red here, we have a, a name imprinted on the front, and Ruby O'Coggins. Thank you, Ruby, wherever you are, for your contribution to the channel. Otherwise, the same, just kind of red, nice burgundy color there. Head and tail bands on this one are red and white, and this is the original ribbon. It is really nothing fancy. It's like a single-sided satin, just burgundy ribbon there. So nothing too crazy. On the inside, the same, genuine leather. And this is another synthetic material, not a paper. And then lastly, we have this one. This is the brown synthetic. And you can tell that it's synthetic. You know, the ISBN will indicate that, but it is a pretty stiff cover here. It's not flexible like the other ones are. It's just kind of a hardboard cover there. It does have a nice variation in the color. I do like that. It's kind of splotchy, and it does have like a simulated grain there. And that's what fooled me when I bought it on eBay. It looked like leather. You know, obviously it doesn't feel like leather, but it still looks like leather. I do like very much the kind of the splotchiness and the variety here in the color. On the spine, it's just about the same here. Looks like the coloration is a little bit different on the stamping. Right, so on the leather versions, it's more of a yellow stamping. This one's a little more of a silver color. So just an interesting point of note there. On the back cover, there's no difference. On the inside here, you have a paste down brown synthetic material paste down. And you do have like a Florentine fillet here on the edge. So a nice little design all around the outer border there. So very neat. Yeah. And here you can see that nice gilt. It's a lot better. I think on the red edition too, it's pretty nice. So you can see again the coloration difference there. The red one has more of a kind of like a darker yellow color. This is a much brighter yellow. So, but a very nicely done gilt either way. If you can find a pristine edition, I don't think they go for very much. I think a lot, like most of these, I think I got them for maybe around the $10 mark. They're not very expensive on eBay. If you kind of keep your eyes open. Sometimes I think the price has kind of gone up. I think now they're around $30 for them. But you know, if you keep your eyes open, you can find one in a decent readable shape for not very much money. So let's go ahead and take a look at the black one, because I believe the black one is a first edition. So let's get this black one real quick. We'll open it up. And you have your end sheet there. A little bit of schmutz. You have a couple blank pages of like thicker paper, not quite cardstock, but thicker paper there. And then you have a blank couple sheets of normal paper there, Bible paper. You have the Living Bible Paraphrased with the logo. Pretty neat logo. I like that design. From what I've heard, the Living Bible, even though it's a paraphrase, it was pretty well loved and received. And there's a second title page with their information there at the bottom. The other famous version of this is a hardback with like a padded cover. It's pretty unique looking. You'll see those all over eBay. And there's the copyright page. And the way this works, let's see here. You have the Living Bible. It's got the dates here of when it was translated. Then you have your copyright 1971 by Tyndale House Publishers. And it is marked their first printing, July 1971. And they do spell it out for you, so it'll say like second or third or fourth printing, and then the year that it was printed in the United States. And then at this time when they first did it, there was only the black cowhide and then a saddle brown cowhide. In the other editions, you'll see the other colors added down there with the ISBN, or I guess then the SBN numbers. So, yeah, the table of contents. Contents in alphabetical order. Then you have the prologue there. I'll let you guys read it if you're interested. Now, this paper does have a unique feel to it. It's almost feels like a coated paper, weirdly. And it's very, very thin. Here's the preface. Kind of get you in there if you want to read it. You can pause it. But yes, the paper is very thin. In the back of the preface there. And the Old Testament title page. And Genesis gets right into it. So, we have there the book of Genesis, and you can see, so it's a double column paragraph. And this is really meant to be a reader. You can tell because it does have verse numbers, but because it's a paraphrase, there's going to be some areas where it's much more obviously thought for thought. So they can't really put, like you'll notice here, there's a 14 and 15. So they can't really like put 15, I guess, in the middle of it, only because they're kind of combining the meanings of those two verses to form like one cohesive thought. So they just kind of indicated there's this kind of sentence here represents 14 and 15. Now there isn't really much. There's just the footnotes here at the bottom, but there's no cross-references or anything like that. Another thing to note is kind of the size of the verse numbers. That would also kind of indicate the fact that this is really just for reading. The verse numbers are pretty small. And then we have here the book and the chapter on the corners. You do have a running header here at the top. And then just, like I said, your footnotes and your page numbers here at the bottom. So we'll flip through here. You can see some nice formatting there. It is a justified text, so it is aligned on both sides of the columns. All right, and so here you can see the Psalms. Now they're not really formatted quite like poetry, the kind of way that we know them in the poetic setting. They're more formatted kind of in paragraph form. So it's a little bit different than what we're used to as far as normally seeing. We'll turn to Proverbs and see if it's any different there. So Proverbs is formatted a little bit better. I kind of got them separated there by saying. Keep going through the New Testament. And this is a black letter text. We'll take a look at the intertestamental stuff here. So you have the end of Malachi. And here's some drawings here. View of Ezekiel's temple. Plan of the temple area. Neat little illustrations there. The allotment of the land. And the New Testament title page. And you have Matthew. We'll go to 5 and 6, but this is black letter text. There you go. And we'll get to the end. Now this is really just, it's just meant to be a reader. So aside from those few little diagrams and things, there's nothing else. So we'll get to the end of Revelation here. You see there, the end. And then all you have after that is a bunch of blank pages for notes or what have you, which I can appreciate. Again, if you're, if you're new to the Bible, or if this is kind of your first time read through, you might want to have some space to jot down your notes as you're going through it, some further questions for further study. So there's quite a few pages here. It looks like they just kind of finished up a signature, but it is quite a good bit of number of pages for notes there. Then on the back, you do have the item number. It's T-251LB. And some more cardstock, blank cardstock pages. And then the end sheet there. And that's it. Let me go ahead and get you some measurements. So we'll start off with the height. It measures in at 7 1/4 inches tall by like 5 1/16 inch wide, so just over 5 inches wide. And then thickness is about 1 1/4 inches, just about 1 1/4 inches thick. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the font sizes. So we'll look at the capitals first. Compare the B here. And it looks to be about a 9-point font. We'll look at the lowercase. In comparison to Times New Roman, we use the M in money here. And yep, it's right about a 9-point font. So, nice readable Bible, about hand size, I would say. But very readable. Again, the verse numbers are nice and small, kind of tucked out of the way. There's no riffraff as far as the cross references would be concerned. So those are out. So you just have some footnotes to kind of help explain things, and just a nice little reader. Very portable, very small. Well, not very small, but very portable. So certainly, if you're interested in the Living Bible, I'd recommend picking one of these up. eBay is always a good place to find these. Like I said, they do pop up pretty regularly, and they're usually not very expensive. So otherwise, Bible Buddies, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, that sort of thing, if you could please like and subscribe. Otherwise, do everything else down below. Until next time, Bible Buddies. Bye.